Okay, let's go ahead and call this hearing to order. I'll begin by reading the notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the following hearing will be held in the Bonneville County Courthouse, 605 North Capitol Avenue, Idaho Falls, Idaho, June 2nd, 2020, at 3 p.m. by the Bonneville County Commissioners for the purpose of public hearing in relation to the application of Cody and Amanda F for rezone from agriculture A1 to residential R2. The general location is 2175 North, 45th East, Bonneville County, Idaho. There's a legal description and also instructions on how to respond with the new remote way of doing business. This was published May 17, 2020 in the Post Register. We'll begin by, all three commissioners are here. And just housekeeping, we will, without objection, make the minutes of the planning and zoning hearing part of this record. And so anybody who wishes to testify doesn't necessarily need to repeat that. We've got that record here. Feel free to add anything you need. So we'll start with Steve Sear, our building administrator, explaining the application.
As you can see on the map that's before you, this is a request for change of zoning. It's for a rectangular tract of land. It's located against residential zone property R2 to the south, R1 to the west, and R2 to the north. We have agricultural zone property on the east, and also the property that is immediately north of it is currently agriculturally zoned. The area is in within an urban residential area on the comprehensive plan. The peculiarity is on this parcel, there's currently no developed roads that access the back of it for internal access in the future. It would be one of the items that we would need to review in consideration for how this property would be developed in the future. Planning and Zoning Board made recommendations for approval of the rezone, noting the restrictions of the access to the property and those needed to be addressed. They do have access generally to Falls Water and Iona Bonneville Sewer. Both of those would have to be extended into the property either from the north or from the south to be able to service that property. I don't believe they have will serve letters from them at this time, but that would have to be, if it proceeds and you do approve it and they would be required to follow subdivision flats, they would have to follow up for final approval on provision of those services. If you have any questions.
Okay, so it looks like the proposed access to this, we've got what, a grandfather on 45th East?
Well, they do have a house and property there, but there's no way to develop a public road coming off from 45th. If you look to the subdivision to the north, it's being developed with a road that heads to the south. If you look down on the south, there's also a road they're the same road name. They're eventually proposed to be connected. On the south, there's a preliminary plat phase proposed for expansion and where the R2 is listed. So the main intent for access to get lots would be through that road that's on the rear of their property.
The Oak Brook.
So it's just run up north and south where the cursor is, that's where it would have to be installed.
Question.
Yeah.
So
that's access. Who owns that property that road would come through then?
It's currently owned by the developer that's developing the lots to the south. He has a master plan showing that property to developed out the rest of the way with the road network in it. Currently, there is no plan for the tract that's just immediately north of the Eck property. It's not been rezoned. There's no applications for any development on it. So for all practical purposes, if this were approved, it would be subject to the timestamp of whenever the road from the south got to the property.
Okay, looks like, well, I guess that's not the purpose of this hearing to figure out how they're going to develop a narrow strip like that. If the roads go straight through, it doesn't mean very many building lots. Okay, any other questions? Looks like Mr. Heck, you're on the, do you have anything you want to add to this?
No, just looking to the future. If you guys can hear me okay, just for that Oak Brook Road to connect there on the north and the south, just looking at the future to get those two connected. And when that happens, who knows, but just doing our due diligence up until that happens.
I have a question for Steve. Isn't the piece, let's see, isn't the piece directly to the south the one that the school district sold?
No. School district hasn't been involved in that parcel.
I'm trying to figure out where I am.
Oh, I don't know. We've got a map. I can't get to the map to tell you the ownership on it right now. It's the same owners as the developer.
Okay, but it's Lincoln going towards Iowa Road then, so it's not, I'm 1 mile to the south. Okay. Okay, just wanted to understand where I was. Anyway, is this the one we got the letter from EV? That will make part of the record, questioning the possibility of putting apartments there where it's all single family. I know the R2 does allow apartments, is that correct, Steve?
Yes, the R2 does allow up to 4 plexes. You can do single family homes, duplexes, triplexes, and 4plexes.
Mr. Chairman, I just have one question. If I could, Steve, on the map, who owns the property right next to the equity zone on 45th that would connect that?
To the north or the south, which parcel?
The south.
Guardian.
Guardian Homes.
They,
They're developers.
It's still active.
Still ag, okay.
No, it's R2 to the
That
south.
one's
Well,
already.
that one is,
Yes. It's R2 to the south, and it is Guardian, but it hasn't, we don't have a preliminary plat.
but everything around it's R1, right?
R2 or R1, you have both.
So the other question I got for Steve is, I believe that our discretion allows us to indicate whether multi-family dwellings will be allowed as part of the rezone conditions.
You can place restrictions on the style of home or the size of the home, or excuse me, the density of the zone as a condition on the rezone petition. Per se, if you wanted to limit it to only duplexes, you could make that a stipulation.
Okay, that's just something for the commissioners to consider when they give their input to Steve. Okay, anything else? Of course, there's no will serve, so that would have to be a condition also, Steve.
I think, other than what's in the packet and the comments that were made from the planning board session, There's probably no additional information that you would really probably need to have this time.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, with that, we'll close this hearing to any public comment. We'll see there's a,
Might be public on there.
yeah, who's the J? I can't read that.
I would think that he would be for the H-K hearing,
Oh,
just next.
Jay Crosper, is that?
Yeah. Prosper.
Oh, Trosper. Look through the top part of the glasses. Okay, apparently he's not wanting to comment on this one, so.
I am on. Can you hear me now, Commissioner?
Are you on this hearing or are you waiting for the HK?
I'm waiting for the HK hearing.
Okay. Wanted to make sure if there's any public, they had a chance to comment. So we'll close this hearing to public comment, take the issue under advisement. Steve will come up with some proposed findings that will be held in a public meeting. It won't be a hearing. Everybody's willing to attend but not testify. We'll make our decision based on what's on the record right now. So with that, we'll call this meeting to adjournment. Thanks.
Yes.
Steve, can you still hear me? Steve, you there?
Yes.
Austin? Did the volume come across okay? You could hear us all right? Was the echo too much?
Is the echo coming through your, is the echo through your speaker system?
Yeah.
Do you have the little two speakers that's sitting on the side of the table? Are they turned off?
Yeah, that's not where it's coming from. It's actually coming from our microphones. I think we could do away with those.
I don't hear any echo at all.
Well, it's a pause repeat on the recording, about a 2-second delay. I don't hear it right now.
But it did come across okay then.
Yeah, it sounds good.
It sounded okay. You could understand us okay.
Ryan and Roger, do you know that you're muted? There you go.
Okay. Did you hear any of that?
No.
Oh, you were on mute.
It was recorded, but they couldn't hear
Okay.
it.
Yeah, it was recorded. We basically just read the notice of public hearing for right now. So, to begin with, we'll have Steve Sierra, Building and Zoning Administrator, present the application. And without objection, we'll make the minutes from the Planning Commission meeting part of the record. So the purpose today, just make us familiar with this. We don't need to go over a lot of what was in the record there. If there's any additional things anyone wishes to add or question, we'll take that. So Steve, go ahead and explain the application to us.
You're muted, Steve.
Steve, you're muted.
Okay, sorry, I'm muted now. This parcel is generally located just east of H&K's main hot plant facility, just southeast of 20. They have previously made an application on this tract of land for a gravel pit operation, which was approved a number of years ago, which is an allowed use within the A1 zone. Some of the property surrounding it is also A1. They have a balance of the property running to the east, which is in their ownership, which is also approved for a gravel pit, where the two A1 designations are on the map. They're proposing to change the zoning on the area that's highlighted in the black marker to go to an INM1 designation on it, so they can expand their property to utilize it for some more of the industrial uses that they have been carrying on within the existing industrial manufacturing zone. Planning and Zoning Board heard this. There was quite a bit of discussion with some of the adjacent property owners. All the details, I think you can see, review those in the Planning Board minutes. But in general, there was some concern about access getting out onto the county road to the south. They wanted assurances that there were no, if they were doing this, that they would not be utilizing that small strip of land that comes off from this rezone request out to the highway for an access point. If I remember correctly, the Planning Board made conditions that couldn't be used as an access road if this property were rezoned ultimately and approved to the IM1 zone. Normal requirements in the IM1 zone we'd need to have addressed would be future, if they develop anything that's necessary for other infrastructure such as water or sewer, that they'd be obligated to provide public water and a community water or a community sewer system that would be able to handle whatever effluent took place if they made more intense development on this property, such as building buildings or putting infrastructure in that needs sewer service or fire protection or water service. I believe there's a couple people on board that might be testifying today regarding this. If there's any other questions, I'm open for questions and answers right now.
Yeah, the quick question is that access you're talking about, what they refer to as the 25-foot strip?
It's that little strip on the south, yes, right to the east of the C2.
Right, but it's that 25-foot strip that they didn't figure was wide enough for a road.
Yes.
And they wouldn't be using that for a road. It was the recommendation.
It was originally designed for an access into the pit. Currently, I don't think they can even get to it because of the burning situations. But the property owners made a specific request, if this were rezoned, that they didn't want that to happen to be an access. The Planning Board was agreed with them, I believe, on the rezone request of their recommendation for approval was not to have that as an access point.
Okay. Is the owner or applicant on? And if you
Yeah.
wish to, we're gonna have to have your name and address as we would in person.
Yeah, good morning. This is Jeff Trosper with H-K Contractors. Address is 6350 South Yellowstone Highway, Idaho Falls, Idaho. First of all, I appreciate the opportunity this morning to discuss comprehensive land use maps. Our intent behind the application for the comprehensive plan change is, of course, as Steve highlighted, we want to, through later process, rezone the property to INM1 to allow us to operate our current operations as we move east. So currently HK is trying to clean up some zoning discrepancies throughout our properties. Operations at the Willow Creek Pit, which is the property that is highlighted on the map now, will not change in the future. We are currently extracting material to the eastern side of that property, A1, both of those A1 parcels. We don't have any intention in the long term of doing anything different than what we are currently using it for. We are not asking at this time for an additional access to the property as we went back and reevaluated when we submit our zoning and our plat later. We anticipate using the existing access to 49th, which is already a developed access, and will utilize the road structure that we already have within the parcels that we currently own. Also, we have addressed the property, that sliver of property that was a surveying bust at some time in the past. We've already addressed that. I've had Harper Levitt prepare the documents, and once we have time to meet with the property owners there, they will own that property. We'll shift property boundaries, so that will not be an access point now nor in the future. So the reason we need this property is, like Steve said, is continue the operations that we are currently running. And because of DEQ regulation, we need the area to separate our operations. So if there's questions or if you need any more clarification, we'll take those.
Question?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I have one. From the hearing, the previous hearing, I have a question about the 1,000 feet requirement that DEQ is between the batch plant, the concrete and the asphalt plant. I'm trying to wrap my mind around that. Does this help solve that problem potentially?
Yes, if I heard the question correctly, is the DEQ setback of 1,000 foot the reason that we're moving operations over? And yes, we would need this additional INM1 zone to comply with the DEQ requirement.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, hearing no other questions, is there any members of the public on that I don't see any that would want to testify? I see Mr. Hall on there, but I'm assuming you're here for the next one. Okay. We'll close this hearing to public testimony. We'll take the issue under advisement. Steve Sear will put together some proposed findings of fact. We'll try to get those as quickly as possible. They'll be posted with the required 48-hour notice. Usually at our Road and Bridge Wednesday meetings, that'll be a public meeting, but not a public hearing. Public's welcome to attend, but we won't take any additional comments. So with that, we will stand adjourned. We're unmuted this time. Okay, I'll begin this, we'll open this public hearing. I'll begin by reading the notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the following hearing will be held in the Bonneville County Courthouse, 605 North Capitol Avenue, Idaho, June 2nd, 2020 at 3:30 p.m. by the Bonneville County Commissioners for the purpose of a public hearing in relation to the application of Crowley East Property LLC, an Idaho Liability Company, and Crowley Property LLC for rezone from agriculture A1, Crowley East Property and residential R2, Crowley Property LLC, to limited commercial C1. General location of this is southeast and southwest corners of Street 45th East, Crowley Road, Bonneville County, Idaho. There were legal descriptions published for both, along with instructions on how to access this hearing remotely with the COVID-19 restrictions in place. This was published May 17th, 2020, in the Post Register. All three commissioners are present. We will begin by having Steve Sear, our building and zoning administrator, present the application to us, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, this tract of land is been proposed for rezone. They have an aerial, the photo showing the property highlighted in black. Previously, the applicant and an adjacent property owner applied for amendment of the comprehensive plan to identify this area as a mixed-use area on the comprehensive plan. That went through the process. The approvals were obtained for the amendment to the comprehensive plan. They are now proposing changing that zoning to a commercial designation for a portion of the R2 or the R2 zone property on the west, and all of the property on the east, on the East LLC property. The planning board did make a recommendation for approval of the rezone request. The area is available for having central services supplied to it by Falls Water and also by Iona Bonneville Sewer. There are some conditions within the zoning ordinance. You have to have review of adjacency when you have commercial zones adjacent to other properties, other residential properties. They require a variety of options for landscaping buffers to eliminate and minimize the impact of a commercial use being immediately adjacent to a residential use. The other item that the board needs to be aware of is this is also a location where the county is proposing, is actually under construction for building a new roundabout on the intersection. Both of these parcels would be included in that development area, requiring dedication of lands on both tracts being put into that development of the development of the cul-de-sac. There will be additional easements and setbacks on it from one that's developed. So the condition of this, if it is recommended for approval, that they stay in compliance with all setback regulations from the new design layout for the cul-de-sac. We do have the zoning surrounding the property. If you note on the map, portion of the parcel on the west has R2 zone, and then it transitions into an MH zone. The R2 zone is one that allows single family dwellings duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes.
There.
The property to the south, farthest west and south, is an MH zone, which is manufactured housing. Those properties are pretty much fully developed with residential uses at this time. You go across the street, you have R2 and R1 zoning. And again, most of those lots are fully developed. There is some property to the northeast that has open space. Currently, it's still designated as an A1 zone, as is the property farther to the east surrounding the requested petition for the rezone for the east property. The other peculiarity on this we need to address, bring out before the board, is the fact that it is the same corporation, or the same entities that own the different corporations that own the east tract and the west tract, just so that it can be considered by the commissioners as to the issue of whether this could be potentially considered a spot zone or not, or if there's enough uniqueness in having the two corporations own it, even if the Bain ownership is the same owner. Which might be a legal question we get into, I don't know. Beyond that, I think everything will be available in the minutes from the planning and zoning hearings. We also have comments in there from Road and Bridge as to some of the conditions that they had for development of if the rezone requests were developed on either of these tracts. If you have any other questions, I would be glad to address them.
But it did remind me that without objection, we'll make all the records from the planning hearing, including the comprehensive plan designation. Documents.
I'm sorry.
Part of the record, so there's no objection. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, so I guess I wanted to explore a little more of the spot zone, Steve. That's what I was looking at when I was looking at the map. Is this corner, this is not designated as a commercial node, or we have no designation like that out there, correct?
There's not a commercial node on this corner. The proposed comprehensive plan change that was submitted by the current owner of the property was for a mixed use zone designation. The surrounding property is all designated on the comp plan as urban residential. The mixed use has all of the same basic residential zone uses that can be applied for within it, but the mixed use also allows you to have the potential to ask for some commercial related zones and HC1, like a light commercial, highway commercial, C1 zones. Under certain circumstances, you can even have a C2 zone with additional buffering. Those are potential options that the comprehensive plan says that a mixed use zone can be used for. They don't go into the heavier commercial or industrial zones, but it is a merge designation as potential for mixed use, mixing residential and light commercial uses together.
Okay.
So it is allowable zone in the comprehensive plan.
Yes, it's potentially allowable, yes.
Mr. Hall, I see you on here. Do you want to add anything other than what we have on the record? And if you'll state your name and address before you testify.
I don't know, can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Roger, you said yes, you can hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. My name is Brad Hall. My address is 2840 Sunnybrook Lane, Idaho Falls, Idaho, 83404. And I think when we applied with the planning and zoning, we explained what our intent would be, that we would remain On the southwest corner, the buffer would be R2. I think that's the proper designation for that. And then in front, we would ask that that be commercial. Tentatively, we are looking to put a convenience store, one of our good-to-go convenience stores there. And then on the east corner, we have not decided what we will build there at this time. No decisions have been made with regard to that at all.
Say we, I think it's important to distinguish that these are two separate legal entities that own different properties. And you are a part
Well,
of that.
it is, but it's all owned by me and my family, but they're just separate corporations, separate LLCs. Mr. Christensen's the only different, but they're owned all by me and different LLCs that we have. We went and bought the other corner because Steve Steer had recommended or had suggested that we might have a problem with spot zoning, thereby if we had both corners, we thought that alleviated that issue with any problem with spot zoning. And I think that was addressed by Mr. Steer also in the planning and zoning meeting that we had.
Right. Okay, are there, let's see, I see Peggy B. Are you wishing to testify?
Yes, please.
Could you state your name and address? Unlike Mr. Hall, make sure you only have 5 digits in your zip code.
Yes, thank you. My name is Peggy Bresky. I work with Horrocks Engineers. We're the applicant, and our address is 901 Pierview Drive, Suite 205, Idaho Falls, Idaho, 83402. Did you need the phone number as well?
No.
Okay. Just wanted to provide a little clarity. This process has been going on for a little over 24 months now with these 2 properties. So just a quick background, both of the parcels have been undergoing transition and planning with the county for about 24 months, as many changes are taking place in the surrounding area. With development continuing in the surrounding area to change the makeup of the area with the high school and the middle school and a new church going in. There are much needed services that need to be provided closer into that area. And that's just good community planning. So in this endeavor, our client Brad, who just spoke, so far we've completed the preliminary process of comprehensive plan map amendments as the process dictates. And as Mr. Sayre had said, the southwest parcel, that comprehensive plan map amendment was completed in 2018 in May, and that's the southwest corner. The southeast parcel, as Brad mentioned, as a possible recommendation from Mr. Sayre, was that that parcel came available and they did purchase it under separate business ownership, but under the same umbrella. And that southeast parcel was comprehensive plan map amendment was completed in 2019. And these were combined and purchased as partially to address the possibility and potential of a spot zone. But Mr. Hall's attorney, Ryan Mickle, has spoken in past presentations with P&Z and during the comprehensive plan map amendment that spot zoning is not applicable in this situation, but it is relevant.
So that's not right there.
I'm sorry?
Not sure where that voice came from, so.
Oh, okay. So, and then both of those changed at that time on the comprehensive plan amendment from urban residential to mixed use zoning. And the mixed use zoning was made by recommendation of the Planning and Development Division at the county. Our original application was commercial, but mixed use was a better zone as recommended, because we still wanted to include some multifamily housing as a buffer on that southwest parcel. So the basis for the request for the rezones kind of follow just in line with the process of the comprehensive plan map amendment. And the basis is to allow for a wider range of suitable development to go in that area, since the land use surrounding is changing with schools and other community services like the church. It gives new development to be in that area. Additionally, the requested zones, rezones tie in with Bonneville County's community planning with the roundabout that Mr. Sayre had indicated. That roundabout not only is underway, but another component of the master plan with Bonneville County Road and Bridge is that the first leg, the western leg of that intersection, will be converted to a 5-lane traffic. And then the eastern leg of that intersection, continuing eastward, will be converted to a 3-lane traffic roadway. So with the 5-lane roundabout and 3-lane, and with the changing uses in the area, small and condensed commercial planning would be a viable option per the comprehensive plan. It is compatible with the surrounding, as the desire to rezone and develop is to develop small commercial services. As Mr. Hall had mentioned, they were thinking of a convenience store with some food service to provide services that existing residents in that area have to travel a long way to get to at this point, because they are on the fringe of the county. The transportation system is already heavily trafficked, with residents in that area traveling further to get into a commercial zone. And so this development will serve to provide services nearer to the residents, which is a part of the compatibility with the surrounding. Again, the natural next steps, since we've already got the comprehensive plan map amendments changed, the natural next step is to rezone to the C1 designation as we've requested. P&Z unanimously approved that rezone, and we respectfully submit that the approval of the rezone would provide desirable commercial services to the many residents in the area, but it's also just a positive next step for smart growth planning. Smart growth planning, of course, would be to involve and include small clusters of commercial developments to provide services to nearby residents and to the changing uses. So, and also, as Steve mentioned, our client is working with the Road and Bridge Division for providing land as needed for the right-of-way for that roundabout, and we are looking at addressing all of the required setbacks with that roundabout. It is going to require some change in our original plan for what we had anticipated to develop on the site. The land acquisition for the right-of-way was a little bit more than anticipated, but we're reworking our plans at this time for our site plan to accommodate for that. So, the developer desires to work with the community, to work with the county, and to provide needed services. And I think that lastly, the fact that a single owner with 2 separate companies that own both of those parcels on each of those corners, some could question that, but I think that that's going to allow for some congruent development with congruency in design, which will really help the aesthetic of that area, which, with it being a new growth area, a congruency of design and a nice aesthetic that blends well with the surrounding, I think is important. And because you have the same owner of both of those sites, I think that that's a positive with regard to that ownership of both of those areas. So we thank you for this opportunity to express our appreciation for you listening to us today. And I stand for any questions that commissioners may have.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. I'm guessing the Mick is Ryan Mickelson? Or Mickle? Is whoever's on there as Mick wish to testify?
Yes, this is Ryan Mickle. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Anything you
My
wish
name
to
is Ryan
add?
Mickle. Yeah, I'm general counsel for the company. My address is 1937 Bob White Drive, Ammon, Idaho 83401. On behalf of the companies, I've I've researched, we've engaged a law firm to advise us with respect to any concerns regarding spot zoning. And we're of the clear opinion that spot zoning is not applicable in this case. There's really two types of spot zoning that can occur. The first is a type 1 spot zoning, in which the zoning is not consistent with the comprehensive plan. So that type of spot zoning does not apply in this case, given the fact that this zoning request is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The second type of spot zoning would be a zoning type where the property is singled out and is not consistent with any of the surrounding area. Again, in this case, we have both parcels, and it is consistent with the surrounding growth that is going on in the area, and those intersections are as consistent with the comprehensive plan would be consistent with having a mixed use on this. The Idaho Supreme Court has issued a opinion in that case. There was a case, let me see if I can find the site here quickly. I don't want to hold it up. I can get the specific site for the commission if they would like that. It was Neighbors for Press of Big and Little Creek County versus the County Commissioners of Payette County, in which the Idaho Supreme Court addressed this issue, and that's where they outlined those tests that I just referred to. So we think spot zoning is not an issue as evidenced by the Idaho Supreme Court issuing in that case. I'm open for any questions you all may have.
I don't see any. Thank you. I don't see any members of the public on there. Do you in the waiting room or anything?
Well, there's an Emmy, and Kate. They're both muted.
Okay.
I can't bring them up on there.
Okay. With hearing no other members of the public who are wishing to testify, we'll close this hearing to the public testimony. We'll take the issue under advisement, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, unless we don't have a big backlog of hearings. We've had a little bit of a recess for 2 or 3 months. It's good to get these things moving again. We appreciate the patience of a couple of the applicants for coming right up to almost having a hearing and then the closure for COVID. So we'll take the issue under advisement. We'll have Steve present findings to the commissioners. It will be in a public meeting, but not a public hearing. There won't be any additional testimony allowed. So with that, thank you, everybody, and we'll consider this hearing adjourned.
Thank you.